Welcome to the channel. We're your hosts. My name is Quentin Horton,
And I'm Aaron Curry.
and this is
It's Secrets
to
to Sexy. All right, guys, welcome back to Secrets to Sexy, where our intention today is to redefine masculinity with love. I'm going to start off by talking about emotions. Emotions are not the enemy. I promise you that. Repressing them and not sharing them could potentially be harmful. Expressing them in a reckless manner could be harmful as well. It's important to know, when and who you can share your emotions with and who you can share them with safely. So today, this episode isn't a call out for men, it's more of a call in. Like, I want you guys to understand you can share your emotions and you can do it in a safe way. But again, that's determined by the person you're sharing them with, if they're providing you that safe space. So for me, I want to talk about crying. I think crying is a very healthy thing to do. And if you haven't cried in 5, 10, 15 years, shame on you, because it feels good,
Right.
I must say. And I tapped into that, I don't know, maybe in the last 5, 6 years or so. I was like, 'cause I used to just hold it in. And I was like, you know what? I just gotta let it out. And I found myself doing it more with like movies too. Like, I'll watch something or there's something that's really emotional and I'll be like, why am I crying, But it's because I'm in tune with my emotions now, more so than I've ever been. And I've realized that it's very healthy to express them and let them out when you need to. So again, like I said, not a call out, it's a call in for you guys to recognize that it's okay, it's healthy to share your emotions, to let your emotions out, and cry if you need to.
I mean, I agree 100%. You know firsthand, the last 5 years for me has been extremely emotional. And I think two things happen. It could be seasons, things that you go through that evoke these emotions, but also as you become spiritually wiser, you start to feel more. And I think sometimes men are taught, not to feel, because if you're vulnerable, then you're weak, right? And then also society tries to teach you, or treat you like you're a workhorse. They treat men like we're workhorses. It's just, if you're not productive enough, then you're not a man. And if you feel too much, then you're not a man. So just work really hard and get a lot done, but don't feel anything. And I think that we're not just what we produce, we are also what we feel at the same time. And I think that we just got to create more space for men to be able to express those emotions, because behind those emotions is where the truth lies.
Right.
You have to feel that first to even get in touch with your truth, so you can make those necessary changes or adjustments.
Agreed. I'm glad you can align with me there. I think that a lot of men, we have a tendency to think that if you cry, you're weak.
Right.
I think not crying is just you're numb. And walking around this earth and trying to navigate, being a protector, being a partner, being a lover, being a friend, being a mentor, while you're that numb, it's very difficult to do. That's why, like, relinquishing those emotions and letting them out. And it doesn't mean you walk around crying everywhere you go. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just like knowing and being in tune with yourself and knowing that if you need to, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be emotional and to feel sad and to feel depressed. Like, those are all natural feelings. Like, you don't have to fight them. I think when you fight them, then your emotions have a tendency to get locked up in a vault.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a dangerous game that you're playing.
Right. Now let's talk about safe space, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men feel like there is no real safe space to be. Because it's one thing if we're being irresponsible with our emotions, but sometimes in society, again, they treat us like we're workhorses. So it's like, how do you create that safe space, or how do you feel safe to even be able to express
By
it?
picking the right partner. And everyone puts their best foot forward as long as they can, but then when things get tricky, you see who someone truly is. Like, I had a partner she was incredible, and I went through a tough season emotionally and mentally with certain things, and I was like, hey, I expressed that, and I was vulnerable and raw and honest and all the things that women say they want men to be.
Yep.
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
And then you do it, and it happens, and then it's like, oh, that's how you feel? You're not the strong, big black man that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, and then they take a step back.
When you pour out to them and they start to see that you're emotionally vulnerable and their love language, I feel like their love language is emotional safety. That's where the gray area comes in. It becomes like, damn, like, should I not have told you this? You know, at the end of the day, like, women want to feel safer, period.
Yes, brother. They want it easy.
That's
That's my main impression. We live in the darkness.
We do.
Live in the darkness.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
You thought in the darkness, dude.
Oh man, so I had to do
That,
it.
we basically a bunch of babes living in the darkness.
Honestly, yeah,
That's what it feels like
That's
at
what
times,
that's
I
what
would
it
say.
feels like. And that's a good segue.
Yes, it
Talk
is.
about, you know,
Great
how-
Bane impression.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. I'm giving you 8 out of 10.
Appreciate
Maybe
that. It's the
8.5.
first time I've done it in a minute. So
It's been a minute.
Yeah, do it again. But yeah, no, I wanted you to talk about, you know, how we've seen men like over the years and what the expectations of men are in society and inside of a home. Like, what does that look like typically?
I mean, generally speaking, especially if we're talking about like past generations, like, you know, we grew up watching men be productive, getting shit done, keeping their head down, not expressing emotions because they felt like that's what leadership was. Like they never wanted to show weakness.
And it is. That is a good quality of leadership.
It is,
you know?
absolutely, absolutely. But, you know, everybody has breaking points. Everybody has times where they need to, you know, kind of offload emotions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think the past generation and even some of our generation now, we don't have an offload point. You know, emotions is one of those things where they store up. You know, just because you keep your head down and keep going doesn't mean the feelings aren't there. You know, you can pretend like they're not, but if you continuously have this buildup, it's going to leak out somewhere. So I think we need to have, you know, more offload points, but we've been taught not to do that shit, that it's considered, you know, weakness.
And how's that working out for you? How's that blueprint going? You know what I mean? Like it's not healthy and it's not good for your peace. Before we continue, this episode is brought to you by mentalhealthcards.com. Trust me, these aren't your average affirmations. These are conversation starters, whether it be for you, your family, friends, spouse, kids, because sometimes the hardest part of healing is knowing how to talk about it.
That's real. And the thing is, these cards are actually a gentle, non-invasive way to actually open up without feeling like you're in a therapy session.
Exactly.
They're sexy, they're smart, they work.
You can feel the energy begin to shift and you're like, okay, I know what this is. I was honest, told you how I was feeling, and now I'm not as much of a man anymore. You know, I'm not this strong protector and all that. And it's just like, so that's why we end up keeping things to ourselves.
Yeah.
You wonder why we don't share. It's because when we share, we're more harshly judged than a woman is, because women are emotional and we know that. So when you're emotional, it's expected. But men aren't expected to be emotional and honest and raw. They say they want it, but then when we do it, it's like, it's almost like you tell a kid, well, if you do this, then you're gonna get in trouble. But if you don't do it, you're not gonna get in trouble. And there's like this fine line where they're like, well, I know that I can get away with this. So it's like putting the foot across the line and like testing the waters, like tipping your toe and you see like, oh, okay, I'm not really gonna get in trouble. But then you dive in that pool and it's like, but you told me I could dive in.
Right.
I dove in, I got in trouble. I don't understand. It's kind of like that. It's like you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So most men choose not to.
I actually just thought about this in real time. I feel like women,
Real time as opposed to like fake time, or?
What the fuck is going on here?
yeah, I guess.
Your real
right
time?
now.
Right now.
You know, men, it's two things. Women like feeling connected. They like knowing what page you're on.
Right.
So that's the reason why they want to know how you feel. But then the second part is they also want to feel emotionally safe. So sometimes they just want to know what page you're on, but if you let them know you're in a page that doesn't feel safe emotionally for them, like if you're in a panic about something and they don't feel safe, then they're going to feel unsafe.
So I was raised, as you know, by a single mom, and I saw her do everything. She did it all. She was my provider, my protector. She was expressive. She showed me love. She did everything. So I learned that softness and strength could coexist. You know, and emotional intelligence it's something that should be foundational.
Right.
I think.
Right.
For leadership, for love, and for life in general. Right. So, you know, I wanted to talk about like finding a safe way to express those leadership qualities. And I wanted to give the people a secret to sexy. And I think one of the secrets to sexiness is stoicism. Stoicism is safety to me. And I know you feel the same way.
Absolutely.
But it's a word that gets a lot of negative press. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you personally feel about that word, and what do you think some of the positive things that can come from it? You know, there's positives and negatives and everything, but I think having the capacity to be stoic and like during a storm is an intangible that's not talked about enough. It's looked at so negatively, but what do you think about it?
I mean, really, I feel like stoicism encompasses faith, right? You know, because it's the ability to process your emotions through problems in a responsible manner. Stoicism is defined as the philosophy or the concept of practicing emotional resilience, rational thinking, and self-control. So essentially what we're saying is that when you face life problems, the communications that go out to your friends or your partner or anyone around you, you're gonna be able to convey the fact that you can actually get through this.
So basically control what you can, accept what you can't.
That part too.
Right.
It's the ability to know the difference. Like you said, control the controllables, let God control the uncontrollables, and be at peace with that.
Yeah.
It's not that you're not doing anything about it. It's just that you're operating from a frequency of, I know I'm gonna get through it, so I'm not gonna panic too much. It's that calmness.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to one of my homegirls before this episode, and I was like, sorry to rush you off the phone, but we gotta go film. And she was like, oh, that's great, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, in a nutshell, I told her what it was and about this concept. And she was like, well, you know, in a partnership, you should feel okay being vulnerable, da da da. And I was like, when you have a problem, do you call me or your mom? And she was like, do you call me or your sister? Do you call me or your best friend, who's a female? Do you call me? And I was like, why do you call me? And we walked through, and I was like, because I make you feel safe.
Right.
I said, I'm not high emotionally, and I'm not gonna match your energy.
Right.
And so she was like, wow, that's a good point. And I'm like, yeah, yes, it's a partnership, and men should be comfortable being vulnerable. But again, we have to have the right partner so that we can feel safe at the same.
Yep.
But we know it's our job to provide a safe space for the women in our lives, whether it be our sister, our moms, or our significant others, or whatever the case may be. So we keep that calmness.
Yeah.
Imagine, I told her, I was like, imagine if you came to me and I matched your energy, what good is that gonna do for anybody? Like,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? So it's like women,
Bingo.
and that's the line we have to thread, is like, when you come to us for safety, I have to be a safe space.
Yeah.
If you come to me for safety and I'm telling you, well, shit, work was hard today and I think I might get fired and I don't know what's gonna happen or how we're gonna pay the mortgage, it's like, you're gonna be like, what? And then your emotions are gonna be at even a higher level now, because I'm making you feel like, well, shit, I don't feel safe anymore either. Right. So that's oftentimes why men we just keep it to ourselves, because we just don't know how the woman's going to respond. And then we won't really find out. It's almost like what they say in the stores, are like, buy, you pay now, you buy now.
Hurry up and buy!
It's like, well, I want to make like I'm checking it out because I want to make sure I like the product before. But it's like in relationships, you don't always get to test the product. You figure out as you go, and then sometimes you realize, okay, like this isn't someone that I can be my authentic self with. This isn't someone I can cry while watching a movie with. This isn't someone I can say, I'm really stressed out with work, or I'm dealing with this with my family, or whatever the case may be. You're like, I'm gonna just hold it in because I know this person's going to judge me,
right?
And or not think I'm strong anymore, or not think I'm a good leader, or whatever. So it's harder for men than I think people give us credit for. We're balancing a lot of different things that we don't even really get to talk about.
Right.
We just have to hold it in, because even talking about it makes us look weak.
Right.
Or like we're not a good leader, or we have too much going on, or we're too emotional. Because you say you want it, but and I hate using all-inclusive words, but in every experience that I've seen from the outside or had personally where I have been vulnerable or have seen a man be vulnerable and honest about where he is mentally, and it's men's mental awareness month, mental health awareness month right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this episode's probably not going to come out, until the next month. But like, it's the truth. Like we deal with so much and we just internalize it because there's not very many safe spaces for us to talk about our emotions. You look at Woody McClain on Cam Newton's episode when he just broke down.
It's okay, bro.
Yeah.
About being a
I saw
black
that.
man.
Yeah.
And how Cam just allowed him that space to just sit. It was like a 3 minutes of silence and he just sat there and he allowed that black man the space.
He was
Not to make it
stoic.
about race, but he was stoic.
He was stoic.
And
He
he
sat
allowed
there
that
and he allowed
man to sit there and feel his feelings and he didn't judge him. He didn't ask him any questions. He didn't say, well, how do you feel? What's that make you feel like? Da, da, da. He just let him like be in that moment because it was such a powerful moment.
It was.
Most people don't give men, I'm not even gonna put it on women, most people don't allow men that moment of silence to just process what the hell we actually feel.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Man, that was powerful.
Thanks.
And that's as much as we talk about mental health, mental health awareness month and mental health. I think we still have to work on, like you said, the spaces.
Right.
And when it comes to like relationships specifically, I think that one thing men have to understand about women is they magnify the energy you're giving to them.
I told my friend that too. That's such a good point.
They absorb whatever it is you're giving to them energetically, they feel, and they project it back to you. So if you sound worried, they're gonna sound extra worried. They're gonna respond to you well, like if you're panicking. Think about it like this, men, we have to start realizing that, the best metaphor I can equate men to is the captain of the ship. If you're riding a ship and you're on a ship and you're telling your passengers, hey man, I think I'm gonna hit an iceberg. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like you start doing that and you start conveying messages like that, like I really don't know what I'm doing. The passenger's gonna be like, wait, what? Should I jump off the ship? Like,
absolutely.
Like what do I do? Do I grab like a life vest or something?
They're gonna respond to your energy.
Yeah, and that's how women feel. They're like, well, like, is this that shaky? Do I need to hop off the ship? So it's important, just like when you even on an airplane, when people are announcing, the pilot's announcing what's going on. When there's turbulence, he doesn't start panicking, be like, man, there's a lot of turbulence. I don't know if I can make it.
He always sounds calm and smooth. He gets online and says, hey.
It's a little bit of turbulence going on, a little bit of winds. It's the Santa Ana winds hitting this time of year. It happens. We're going to get through it. We're probably going to be about 15 minutes late. So be prepared to hurry up and get you. He's very calm and stoic because he understands that he's transmitting energy to his passengers. It's the same thing in relationships. And sometimes we don't realize we're doing that. It's not that we're trying to create panic. We're just being honest about where we feel in that moment. So I think one thing that I've learned is before you have a talk with your partner, men, this is going out to the men, before you have a talk with your partner, have a talk with yourself. Get your panic levels down. Get your emotional worries down by rationalizing and processing it and filtering through faith and an action plan first.
Absolutely.
Then once you compress that, then you can take it to her because now it's in bite sizes where she can be like, okay, maybe I'm a little cautious, but he processed it in a way, it sounds like he has a plan, sounds like he's not that worried about it, so I'm not gonna trip that much. And instead of, letting it spill over and all of a sudden you come to them and they're like, oh, well, if you're panicking, then I'm gonna give that right back to you.
Absolutely. But people, women, everyone, when men are processing our feelings and our emotions and whatever it is we're dealing with, like, please allow us that time to process because everyone processes differently. Sometimes for me, I've already processed 3 solutions and everything in 30 seconds. Sometimes it's such a big deal that it takes me an hour or it might take me the next day. Because I don't want to talk in an emotional, hypersensitive state. I want to talk like I'm talking to you guys now. I want to feel comfortable. I want to have processed my emotions, my feelings. And I think sometimes women and people equate not being vulnerable or not showing emotions to us not being panicky and like, oh my God, it's like, I don't want to communicate to you like that. I want to communicate my emotions and I want to be vulnerable, but I want to do it in a way that is calm
as your
for
higher
myself
self.
And as my higher self, so that you can receive it the way you need to receive it. Because like you said, if the pilot comes on, it's like, okay, I think we're gonna, you're gonna panic. You're going to panic. There's no way around it. So it's like, that's the grace we should be given when we're going through something. Like, I don't want to talk about it right now. We will, but we'll do it when it makes sense. So let's be honest. Let's be vulnerable right now. Not every one of us was taught how to be emotional or how to express our emotions. So I figured let's start from the baseline, give you guys a little starter pack,
Yep.
4 rules, right? I think that's fair.
Yep.
So that you guys have a starter kit, a little tool belt to understand what it looks like when you're expressing your emotions. First and foremost, expand your vocabulary. You know, it's not just I'm mad, I'm fine, I'm okay. Like say I'm embarrassed, I'm anxious, I'm depressed. I don't know. I'm figuring things like let's go deeper. Let's not just stop with the normal mad and fine, right?
The caveman talk.
The caveman talk.
Me mad.
Me mad.
You hunter-gatherer.
Set a 10-minute timer and ask yourself, what did I feel this week?
Yeah,
What did I avoid saying out loud?
I like that. Number 3 would compound on that is grab a journal. You know, not to do poetry unless you're into that sort of thing. It's more so for tracking patterns, like when did I shut down and what happened this week or today that triggered me.
That's real. Yeah. Next, and lastly, I would say, review and reflect the times that you felt emotionally challenged. How did you react to that? Were you defensive? Were you combative? Did you shut down?
Most importantly, if you're dating someone right now, just be the real you. Be the most authentic person you can be, not the one that's performing masculinely. Just be at the level you're at. Be the man that you currently are and just keep growing every day. That's all we can do. All right, fellas and women, here's your sexy homework for the week. Find one emotion you've been carrying around that you feel you've never been in touch with or you've never really voiced. Figure out what that emotion is and then tell a friend. Tell a therapist, tell the mirror, tell a voice note, tell someone and let it out. And don't focus on what it was, focus on how it made you feel.
All right, guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend that you think needs to get sexier.
Please, yes. Yeah, everybody needs to get
Sounds
sexier.
about right.
That sounds about right to me. All right, guys, this is Secrets to Sexy, where we normalize healing, glorify honesty, and make emotional growth sexy as hell. Catch y'all next week.
Peace.